Shocking view counts this week, but why? Join me as I recap week 19 of being a YouTube content creator. For my stats this week, I now have 22 videos posted on my channel and still the 6 shorts. I got a whopping 800 views, I got 23 likes, 1 dislike, and I gained 4 new subscribers. For my watch time hours, I got 31.3 hours. I'm surprised how many views I got this week given I didn't publish a short. So normally when I have a high view count, the shorts are what's driving those high views, but this week I didn't publish any shorts. So I'm very surprised that I'm getting so many views, and the majority of the views are happening because of one video. A couple of weeks ago, I think it was 2 weeks ago, I published my third raised garden bed build, and that's the video that's drawing a lot of attention. The reason I think it's drawing a lot of attention is because it's the springtime now and people are all building raised garden beds. So they're trying to find ideas for themselves. And so I think that's what's drawing the attention to my third raised garden bed video. This week I was on travel. I left Sunday late morning and I returned Thursday night. I had every intention to try to squeeze in some editing work while I was at the hotel in the evenings after my work events, but it didn't happen. It was too chaotic. My day started at 7 in the morning. I had to leave the hotel by it was just a 1 minute walk across the way to the location, but I did have to meet the other folks that I was there with, and so I left the hotel room at 6:40 to be at the site at 7, and then I didn't get back to the hotel room until well after 7 p.m. most nights. And then when I did get back to the hotel room, I wanted to walk. I wanted to get some movement in, so I ended up just going to the gym so that I could do some cardio. I wanted to do strength training, but the gym was always busy. And so I never got any strength training in that week either. Something that I've noticed in my analytics this week is that I'm actually getting longer views on my videos. So before, when I was getting a lot of views, they were pretty short. And now the durations are getting longer and longer, which is a great metric to see because people are staying to watch the videos longer. But while the views were short previously, they were still average to the other YouTube videos that YouTube is comparing my video to. Did I do any research for my channel this week? I can't say that I focused on any research this week. Let's talk video editing. So while I was in Houston, I did absolutely no editing like I had planned. But once I got back from Houston, I did jump right into editing that Houston meal prep video. And the first time that I edited it, I edited it in a way that it was more like a cook with me video, and that's not what I wanted. Again, I'm on a journey of homesteading and I want people to follow along this journey, not necessarily the tasks that I'm working on. So I went to ChatGPT and I asked it for some guidance on how can I restructure this all of this footage that I have in a way that can be more entertaining and not be a cook with me video. And it gave me some really good guidance on how to restructure all the video. And one of the things it did say is I need to cut out at least 50% of all that footage because people aren't there to go and watch me cook. They're there to watch the journey or learn something from the journey. And I did. I cut a whole bunch of that footage out and I ended up with about 35 minutes because the first time I had edited over an hour's worth of footage and I still hadn't finished cooking everything. And so I had way too much and it was really a cook along with me, not what I wanted. And so I did end up cutting back way back on the footage. And I also put in more storytelling elements to remind myself that this is a journey that I'm on. And so I need to bring people along that journey. And so the second video, I think, is more to what I wanted to portray. I did spend about, maybe 2 days working on that first video. And so that was lost time for me. And what I'm realizing is that I really need to take the time ahead of each video to decide what I want in that video and to structure it before I start editing it. Because again, this is the second or third time where I've started editing a video with just the footage that I have before I have a real plan in place. And then I have to scrap everything that I do and start over again. So this time around, I know what I want to film for the following week. And I'm really putting an emphasis on getting the scripting down first and then matching it with the footage that I have. For scripting, again, it's really just making sure that I'm taking the time to sit down and pre-script as much as I can of my next video before I even start recording. Because what I'm doing is I'm recording first and then deciding how I'm going to use that footage into a storytelling format to talk about my journey. And so now what I want to start doing is really, I have a list of contents that I want to record in the future. I already know what I want to record. I really need to sit down and script that content first and then record it so that I am bringing in those elements of the storytelling and not have to incorporate it in via voiceovers later. Over the last couple of weeks, I was wanting to try to cut back on the voiceovers a lot, but I'm thinking because I'm trying to do a storytelling journey, the voiceovers are going to be a necessary evil. And so I just need to get comfortable with doing the voiceovers. I just feel like the voiceovers are not really showing my true personality because they're a little bit too cleaned up, a little bit too scripted. And I want to find a way to do the voiceovers in a way that it feels more raw, more real. And I think what I need to do with that side of things is really just give myself a prompt, but not completely write it out. That way I can just talk freely while I'm doing my voiceover and still they can get more of me instead of me reading a script out. For recordings this week, I only recorded 50 clips, and most of those were related to the recap that I filmed on Monday in the hotel. So very little recording this week. I don't even know if much of it I'm going to be able to use because, again, I have to incorporate those into some kind of a project that I'm working on. And so maybe I won't use anything this week other than, of course, my recap video for this channel. But I'll have to see if any of it was, other than the recap videos, will be worth using. Did I have to spend any money for YouTube this week? And no, absolutely no spend this week. But I do want to give you a quick update on the last spend that I did, which was the second microphone that I bought, which was the Hollyland Lark M2. So with that microphone, I use it a lot when I am going to do a lot of recording just because it saves me battery power. So I use it a lot outside when I'm doing gardening work. And I used it while I was doing the big pantry clean out and the big cooking show that I did. Cooking show, the big cooking video that I did. And the reason I used it is because I knew I was going to have to get a lot of footage and I didn't want it to drain the battery. But what I tend to gravitate towards is the Boya, especially for those recap videos, these recap videos. I tend to gravitate to the Boya. And the reason, I'm not sure that there's a solid reason for. I think it's easier for me to connect. I think it's, I like that the little Boya microphone has a little cover already attached on it. And so it blots out like the fans that I have in the house or the extra noise that might be going on. And with the Hollyland Lark M2, I have to put on this little fuzzy cover that I don't like. And so I don't want to have to put on that little fuzzy cover. And it has to go on the front of my shirt, which means that it's going to detract attention from the video and the content because people are just going to be looking at that microphone. So if I have to use the cover, I tend to gravitate towards the Boya because it has a little cover and it's still really hidden. It's very small and it's not detectable, especially with my hair because I have my hair long and I can cover it. But I can't do that with the Hollyland Lark M2. And really the goal with any microphone that I buy, I want it to be very minimal. I don't want it to stand out in any way. I don't want it to be in the scene at all. And so I'm trying to find a microphone that I can really keep hidden away, but that can pick up the sound properly. And so the one that I really want has a 32-bit float that can record sound internally so that it's not really relying on the sound of the phone or the sound of the microphone. So if something disconnects, I lose my audio. It'll save the audio within itself. And so that's the one that I really want, but I haven't found one that is small and undetectable that I can just hide somewhere. For my schedule this week, I really struggled, as is expected whenever I'm on travel. So of course, I did not do my strength training sessions. I did not keep up with all my YouTube tasks, other than the recording of my my recap on Monday. I did do that one, but I didn't do any of the other tasks that I had written into my schedule to try to do. And then so I was racing when I got back from Houston to catch up on everything. Do I have any accomplishments this week? And I'm actually going to put that filming my recap on Monday while I was on travel in the hotel room as an accomplishment. Because normally what I do is I will put everything on hold. When I'm on travel, nothing gets done. And so me actually pushing through and getting that recap filmed, even though I was in an uncomfortable situation, I wasn't in a place with good lighting. It was just not ideal to record there. I still pushed through and I did it. And I think the quality of the video is going to be less, but at least I got it done. But I think next time, to be able to stay on track and make sure that I don't just give up, because honestly, I was almost ready to give up with the lighting in that hotel room. There was no comfortable seating in that room, and the lighting was really pretty bad. But for next time, I'm going to try to pre-plan ahead as much as possible and bring my tripod that has additional lighting attached to it with me. I brought a different tripod because I was trying to pack minimally, but next time I'm just going to pack the good tripod just in case. For emotions and physical well-being this week, starting with emotions, I had a good week emotionally because I knew that when I'm on business travel, I'm going to have to compromise. And so I wasn't stressed out about not reaching all of my tasks and doing all of the items that I had assigned myself. I kind of knew that I was going to have to do some catch up when I got back home. But I did try to push myself to do some things. And so that was something that really helped me to not overstress, because I knew that I have to just give myself grace when I'm on travel. Physically, I did struggle this week, and it was mostly because I did not get a lot of movement in. And the food that we get when we're on travel, it is very decadent. And so I, of course, overindulged all week long. I got very minimum movement in. And so physically, I just felt icky. And I need to try to figure out how to get back on track with my nutrition and my movement when I'm on travel, because I did do it before and I lost a lot of weight before. And so I'm slowly gaining a lot more weight week over week over week. And I really need to get myself back on track. So I've decided that I am going to go back to tracking my food. I use my Fitness Pal for that. And the only reason I'm going to use my Fitness Pal is because it's already renewed. I've already paid the year. So I'm going to use that one. I've heard reviews about some other ones that are really good, but I've already paid for my Fitness Pal. So I'm going to use my Fitness Pal. I'm going to continue with my strength training, which I have been doing except when I'm on travel, but I'm going to have to be more disciplined about it in the future because I do have more travel coming up. And then also I need to get more cardio in, just everyday regular movement. I just have to get it in more frequently. And what I tend to do when I'm at home is I will walk my dogs throughout the day, multiple times a day. So I do a late morning walk with the dogs. I do an early morning walk before I start work. I do a late morning walk. I do a lunch walk. I do a late afternoon walk, and then I do an evening walk. So we do lots of walks throughout the day, which helps me get that movement in. But when I'm on travel, I don't get that kind of movement in. So I just need to find ways to move around. Maybe it's just walking up and down a hallway in the office or something. I don't know. But I do have to figure out how to get more movement in when I'm on travel. For my goals this week, I have the 4, and I think it's time for me to start resetting my goals. So let's go over my current goals, and then for next week, I think I'm going to start thinking about what can I change up with my goals to challenge myself a little bit more. So for this week, my first goal is to set up my daily calendar, my happy planner, either on Sunday night or early Monday morning, and make sure that all my required tasks are listed along with my dinners. So last week, because I was on Houston travel, of course, I didn't schedule any dinners. I did try to schedule in some YouTube tasks, and I didn't get to a lot of them. And then I did try to schedule in my strength training, but when I got down to the gym, it was so busy and the gym is so small, I just didn't feel comfortable doing it. And so I didn't do those. My second goal is to try to journal daily, and this one I also failed miserably at. And so I was actually pretty bad because I didn't do my Bible studies in the morning and I didn't do my journaling immediately after. And because I didn't do my Bible study, I didn't do my journaling because that's usually when I do my journaling. And so I had a lot of catching up to do. When I got back from Houston, I did all my missed Bible study days, and then I did journal, but I do need to try to either wake up earlier and prep myself a little bit better so that I can do those tasks when I'm on travel. My third goal is to try to film my weekly recaps on Monday evening. And I did film the weekly recap on Monday evening, but it was very uncomfortable. And I don't know if it was worth filming it on Monday or just waiting till I got back. I don't know. I'll have to try to weigh those next time. If I really don't have a good setup, is it worth it to compromise the quality of the video just to get it done? But I did record it. My last goal is to make sure that I'm putting ideas into Notion regularly. And I think this is the second or third week that I haven't added any new ideas to any new content ideas to Notion. And I really need to sit down and think of what I want to add there. I've been putting in the stuff that I want to include in my recaps, but actual content ideas for my homesteading channel, I've been slowing down on significantly. And I really need to get on track because the goal is to publish a video every Monday. So if I don't have a video ready to publish every Monday, that could compromise, I think, the algorithm. So I really need to make sure that I'm keeping up with that. And so I need to take some time to sit down and throw ideas out and just put them and document them and see where I can squeeze them in the future video filming that I'm going to be doing. Do I have any milestones for this week? And no, I can't say that I have any milestones for this week. My friend, that is going to wrap up week 19 of being a YouTube content creator. I want to thank you for the privilege of your time, and I hope to see you again next week.